In the context of predicting events for specific locations, astrologers believe that we must know the foundation chart of that city. Unfortunately, except for the city of Baghdad, we lack knowledge of the foundation charts of most other cities, which making precise prediction difficult. Astrologers have different approaches for determining the location of an event. When an event such as, for example, conjunction of the superior planets, al-Biruni in Persian, occurs, astrologers use the following methods to determine the affected region. I have to mention that none of these methods can be considered absolutely more accurate than the others. The first and maybe the oldest one is the 7 climates, the examination of the latitudinal belts. The second one is the attribution of the zodiac signs to civilization and nations, for example, attributing the Mars and Leo to the Turks. Third one is the Celestial Triplicities, for example, the direct attribution of the zodiac signs to geographical directions, i.e. assigning the 5 triplicity to the east. And the last one is the system of the 4 quarters, the division of the world based on the specific central point using either the Ptolemaic baseline or the consensus or Jumhur Munajjimin baseline. Before starting the 7 climates, the first method, I must mention that the historical classification of the climates was based on the fact that the southern hemisphere was entirely excluded from the inhabited world. We call the inhabited world the Manatiq Ma'mure in Persian. And the modern western hemisphere was similarly omitted from these divisions. So let's start the first method. Greek astronomers, after calculating the longitudinal and latitudinal axis of Earth based on the length of the day and angle of solar radiation, determined the various climates of the Earth. Persian astronomers operating on the same principle established 7 distinct atmosphere or climate zones within specific geographical parallels and latitudes, which became famously known as the 7 climates or Aqalime Sab'eh in Persian. Astronomers define the boundaries of each climate based on the variance in the length of the longest day of the year in those regions, ensuring that the difference in the longest day between any 2 consecutive climates is exactly half an hour. In other words, the span of the latitude that creates a 30-minute difference in daylight duration constitutes 1 climate. According to daily hourly spans, the longest day at midpoint of the first climate is 13 hours. At the midpoint of the first climate is 14 hours and 13 minutes, and ultimately reaches 16 hours at the midpoint of the 7th climate. The general boundaries of the 7 climates presented here. We follow the division calculated by Ptolemy and then Biruni. It is worth noting that the discrepancies exist among the astronomers' calculation regarding the exact boundaries of the 7 climates. These variations stem from the changes in the total obliquity of the ecliptic or Meil Kulli in Persian over time, or differences in calculation methodologies or computational errors. The start of first climate, according to Ptolemy boundaries, is started at 6 degrees and 1 minute, but based on the Abu Rayhan, it started at 12 degrees and 39 minutes. And the First climate has a hot climatic condition. A start of the second climate is started at 23 degrees and 11 minutes based on Ptolemy. But based on the Biruni, it is started at 20 degrees and 27 minutes. And climatic condition is also hot. The start of the third climate based on the Ptolemy system is at 30 degree and 22 minutes. But according to Abu Rayhan, it is started at 27 degree and 28 minutes. But the climatic condition of the third climate is temperate. But what about the fourth climate? The fourth climate, based on the Ptolemy system, is started at 36 degree and 0 minutes. But based on the Biruni, it started at 33 degree and 37 minutes. It is temperate too. The most temperate climates. The start of this climate based on the Ptolemy system is 40 degree and 52nd minutes. Latitude boundaries. According to Biruni, in the fifth climate is started at 38 degree and 54 minutes. It is temperate too. The start of the sixth climate and based on the Ptolemy system is at 45 degree and 32 minutes, and based on the Abu Rayhan is at 43 degree and 23 minutes. But and for temperate, this climate is cold one. But what about the last climate among the Aqalime Sab'eh or 7 climates? The last one, according to Ptolemy, started at 48 minutes and 48 degree and 32 minutes, and based on the Abraham started at 47 degree and 11 minutes. The last one is cold too. But from the perspective of Ptolemy and his followers, the first climate is assigned to Saturn, second climate to Jupiter, third to Mars, fourth to Sun, fifth to Venus, sixth to Mercury, and the last one to Moon. But based on the perspective of the Kushyar ibn Luban and other Persian astrologers, the majority of the astrologers, the first climate is assigned to Saturn, to But the second climate is assigned to Sun, third one to Mercury, fourth to Jupiter, fifth climate to Venus, sixth climate to Moon, and the last one to Mars. So we have differences between the perspective between Ptolemy and Persian astrologers like Biruni and other astrologers. But what about the celestial triplicities? The fire triplicities, I mean Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, attributed to the East. The Earth triplicity, I mean Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, attributed to the West. The air triplicities, I mean Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, attributed to the North. And the water triplicity, I mean Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, attributed to the South. The third methodology, I mean attribution of zodiac signs to civilization and nations. For example, Cancer and Jupiter is assigned to Persians. Scorpio and Venus attributed to Arabs. Libra and Saturn attributed to the Rome, Byzantium Rome. Or we can say to the, Byzantium. Capricorn and Mercury attributed to India. Leo and Mars attributed to the Turks. Sun and Aquarius attributed to the Rome, the Europe, the Western Europe. Virgo and Moon attributed to the marches of the Turks, I mean the China and East Asia. But there are different attributions of the zodiac signs and planets to civilization. I will show you at the end of the video. I have a list of all of them. In addition to the division of these 7 climates, which relies solely on the latitude, Ptolemy introduced a secondary classification system in his tetrabibels or أربع مقالات in Persian, that incorporated both geographic latitude and longitude. Ptolemy defined the center of the inhabited world as a point located at the 65 east longitude and 36 north latitude, using the central hub as a reference baseline. He divided the known world into 4 distinct quarters, technically termed the Terrestrial Triplicities, or مسلسله ارضی. But I must mention that the starting point in the west was from the Canary Islands, or جزایر خالدات in Persian. This point in the map, or the Canary Islands, which we call جزایر خالدات in Persian, was known as the most west area in the ancient world, which is here. Okay, based on the system of the 4 quarters of the Ptolemy, north east quarter is regions where longitude is exceed degree and latitude exceed 36 degree. Southeast quarter is region where the longitude is exceeds 65 degree and latitude is below 36. The northwest quarter is regions where the longitude is below 65 degree and latitude is exceed 36 degree. And the last one, the southwest quarter is region where the longitude is below 65 degree and latitude is below 36. Ptolemy alignment of the terrestrial quarters to celestial triplicities is like that. He assigned the northeast quarter to air triplicities. Its natural lords are Saturn and Mercury. However, because Ptolemy designated Mercury as the universal ruler over the center of the inhabited world, he removes Mercury from managing this specific quarter and substitutes it with Jupiter. Leaving Saturn and Jupiter as the active rulers. About the northwest quarter, he assigned fire triplicity to this quarter. Its natural lords are Sun and Jupiter with Mars as a partner. Because he assigns the Sun as the primary ruler of the eastern half of the world, he removes the Sun from managing this western quarter, leaving Jupiter and Mars as the primary rulers. But he assigned Earth triplicity to southeast quarter. Its management belongs naturally to the Moon and Venus. However, since the Moon is assigned as the primary ruler of the western half of the world, he removes the Moon from this eastern quarter, utilizing Saturn as its substitute. But Ptolemy, in the last one, assigned water triplicity to southwest quarter, governed by its natural celestial lords Venus and Mars. So, as a summary of the Ptolemy's terrestrial triplicity rulers, we can assign Saturn and Jupiter to the northeast quarter, Jupiter and Mars to the southeast quarter, Venus and Saturn to the northwest quarter, and Venus and Mars to the southwest quarter. Under this framework, every terrestrial triplicity is balanced under the co-management of the one benefic and one malefic planet. Concurrently, the Sun acts as a universal partner for two eastern triplicities, and Mercury maintains sole partnership over the midpoints of the inhabited world, and the Moon acts as the partner for the two western triplicities. This was the view of the Ptolemy. But by the view of the general majority of astrologers, the Jumhur Munajjimin in Persian, they view the world, they place the absolute center of the world at 90 degree for longitude and 33.5 degree for latitude. Also for the northeast, they assign Saturn and Mercury. For southeast, they assign Venus and Moon. For northwest, they assign Sun and Jupiter, and for southwest, they assign Venus and Mars. If you want the truth, actually I have written the whole cities and nations which is assigned in the different system, but by the fact I have no sense to translate it in English. I have the whole cities and nations in the ancient world and their assignments. So if you ask any question about each city, you can comment me and ask me, I will answer you. So let's have a and this was the Terrestrial Triplicities by Kushyar. Let's have an example. For example, in the eclipse occurred at the 7th September of 2025, the eclipse occurred in the sign of Aquarius. Therefore, Saturn, as the lord of the sign, was considered the ruling planet or the Mudabbir of the eclipse. Consequently, the heaviest impact and highest problems were expected to manifest in the regions attributed to the Saturn. For example, Jews, which Saturn is assigned to them, must have the worst impact from the September of 2025. Okay, let's finish for this session. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question like which planet and which zodiac sign is attributed to which region or which city or which nation, please comment me and ask me. Thank you and goodbye.